Hi, Jean.
Hi, Katie.
Lovely to see you. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
Good, very good. Thank you. Not bad at all. How is it over there in Ireland? I don't know exactly where you are.
I am in outside of Derry. I'm in a little village, a nice leafy green village, Eglinton.
Thanks for joining us today and talking to us about community. I thought I can totally understand why. And looking at your website, it's something that you really like to engage with.
We've always been quite involved in the community, I think, from the early days of the business. We've been open now for 15 years. And I don't think it's ever something we've had to work at or try to do. It's just evolved very naturally for the practice to get involved in the community. So yes, we would do quite a wee bit of fundraising within the local community, and we would do quite a lot of education with local schools, local school children. We do talks with the U3A, the Women's Institute, different groups within the community. One of our values is education, so it's nice to be able to go out into the community. The schools seem to enjoy us coming along to the schools and doing workshops with the school children. And we're invited to places to give talks. So it seems to be something that's needed within the community. And it's nice to be able to do that. It's nice to be in a position where you can make a difference and you can educate and you can have an impact upon the healthcare of the community. So I do enjoy it. It's one of those things, there's a lot of planning and work does go into it. But once you've done things once or twice, you kind of have created You've kind of created a formula for what works, and then the next time around it's all that wee bit easier to do. So, and the team that I have have always been very engaged and seem to enjoy. Well, maybe enjoy is a strong word, but they've always embraced, I suppose, the ethos of community and within the practice and the spirit of community within the practice. And I suppose it helps. I always think whenever we're doing community events, there's lots of skills for the team to learn as well, with regards to, organizing events and leadership and managing projects and I suppose looking at timelines and goals and presentation skills, creativity. There's loads of learnings for the team and self-development for the team within the community events that we do. And as I say, it does add a wee bit more fun to their jobs as well. I think it attracts the right kind of person to the practice as well for us. So I like people that like to get a wee bit out of their comfort zone and engage with the community, and it builds relationships and it drives more patients to the practice as well. So for lots of reasons, I think it's a very good thing to do, and I've always enjoyed it.
What does success look like for an event?
Well, we would always try and have an idea at the start of an event what success is going to look like. So it may mean, for a fundraising activity, it may mean the amount of money you raise for the charity. So we would have a target at the start of our year, where we might like to try and raise, usually it used to be about £1,000 in the year for a different charity each year. We would nominate a charity. Now recently it's more like £3,000. So we've been able to achieve more over the years with our fundraising. Or it might be the number of new patients that come into the practice. We would measure, whenever we have any new patient come into the practice, we would ask them how they heard about the practice. So we would measure on that respect where people are coming from. Are people coming from our school workshops? Have we met them at a fundraising event? Has somebody else recommended us that's already been to the practice? Maybe it's from our newsletter. We do quite a nice newsletter that goes out 4 times a year, a 6-page newsletter, and it's more about stories about what we've been up to in the practice or events that are coming up in the practice. It's more a human kind of a little newsletter rather than a salesy or a businessy kind of newsletter. So we look to see where people come from, where our new patients are coming from. So we do measure that, and that's kind of where we get our successes, I think.
Do you find that you can use those different stories across different media? Do you sort of repurpose them across your different marketing channels? And if so, what works well for you?
So what's happening on a day-to-day basis, we would post instantly on Facebook usually, and on Instagram. We've started using Instagram more recently. So we would have maybe about 1,600, 1,700 followers on our Facebook page. So we would post a lot of stories. It's more the human stories that people want to know about and like to engage with on our social media pages. So if they want to know, I think if I look back at the stats on our Facebook page, people like to know who baked the cakes, whose birthday is it, who's got an anniversary in the practice,
Yeah.
who's been out doing the gardening. They like to see if we've got some photographs of our patients collecting their glasses, or children that are getting the first pair of glasses. They like to know we do lots of competitions as well within the local community. So we do colouring competitions for Halloween and Easter. We're having a bake-off competition at the minute. So yeah, people like to see those things. We do put up posts about the latest high-tech varifocal or the latest driving lens, but that excites us more than it excites our community that are engaging with us on Facebook.
So we haven't actually talked about your community very much. So can you just tell me a little bit about it? What is the community of Evington like?
Well, as I say, we're in a rural setting, in a village environment, a lovely village environment here, and there's a population of about 4,500 people. So it's a small village, but community, I suppose you could look at community, it's very hard to define community, and you can look at it in a number of different ways. Is it the people that come into the practice that we engage with for eye care, or is it the people that are donating money to our fundraising, the people that we meet at the Santa Claus event? So, there's lots of people within our community who engage with us on social media, but maybe they're not our patients. So our local village, I suppose, is only 4,500, but if I look at my database, there's about 6,000 patients on the database. So we're obviously stretching much further outside of our local village with regards to our community of patients that are coming to engage with us in the practice. But with social media now, there's no limit to your community. Your community is really far and wide. It always amazes me whenever we get engagement on our posts, and I look to see who these people are and where they're based, and they're often not even in Northern Ireland. So social media I suppose it means that community is limitless now. But I suppose for me, community is the people that we're interacting with, and the people that are interacting with us, and the people that we're supporting and they're supporting us.
So a lot of people might be thinking, a lot of the other practice owners may be thinking to themselves, oh gosh, this is all very well, but when am I going to find the time to do this, and how can I do it simply? What sort of tips would you give them to sort of help them on their way?
Well, I think it's, I suppose, getting the team involved and using the right people within the team. So you're looking for somebody with kind of good project management skills, good leadership skills that might be able to maybe run each project, if you're going to call it a project, and start small. So maybe not try to take on too much. If you don't normally do any community work, it might be an idea just to think of one or two things in the first year to try and engage with. And then maybe try and find somebody within the team who's got good creative skills as well. So if you've got somebody who's quite creative and somebody who's got good kind of leadership skills together, and sitting down and maybe looking at what you're trying to achieve from an event, what the timeline looks like, what success looks like at the end, at what stage would you like to see your achievements being made. So recognizing those achievements as you go along as well. And maybe delegating the tasks. So one person shouldn't be responsible for it all. If it's shared out among the team, it definitely makes it more simple.
Does it give you a return on investment? And, in terms of you saying that you measure new patients that come through, do you actually measure that data in terms of percentage? Or
we do look at percentage of people that come from different avenues of different marketing activities that we've done within the practice, certainly. And it definitely does bring new families into the practice. You might do a school talk, and you'll find that you'll get a few children in from that workshop or that talk or that presentation. So I think education is really, really important to educate families and parents that children should have regular eye care from a young age, because children's eyes can change quite quickly in a short period of time. They can change quite a lot. So yes, we do measure the number of new patients that come in, and from one child coming in, if you look after that child, you will definitely be looking after that family's eye care, even if the family at the moment, the parent might go elsewhere. Guaranteed down the line, if you look after the children, you'll be looking after the parents' eye care as well, and they will recommend you to other people as well. So I believe in very much what goes around comes around. So if you're providing really good customer care and you're making a difference to people, I think that they will recommend, they do recommend you then to other people, and they'll look after your practice if you're looking after them.
And all that started from your connection with the community.
That's right.
which makes me wonder, have you done a particular community engagement project that's like really close to your heart and that, you know, is one of your favorites that you'd like to share with us?
I've put together this new interactive workbook. It's taken like a year of my life to create this workbook. And as I say, it's interactive and it's the kids seem to love it. And I suppose whenever you go into a school to do a school workshop, you're genuinely hoping that the information goes home to the parents, and you might give leaflets or you might give a goodie bag, but you wonder how much the parent actually hears. So with the workbook, the parents sees the workbook, there's information for the parents within the workbook, the kids do some exercises at home within the workbook as well. So there's much more of a chance of the actual information getting home to the parents whenever you use the workbook. So I'm in the process of designing another one that I can make available then to other opticians as well, should they wish to use this type of a workbook within their resource within their workshops or their presentations or their school talks as well. If anybody else would like to go out to the community, and I've got something that's ready made for me, so I'm just tweaking it now so that it'll suit for other opticians as well. So I think that's my little project aside of testing eyes at the moment that I'm working quite hard on now.
That was my question actually, what's for the future? So is there anything else? Because that sounds like that's going to keep you really busy, especially if you've got your other job of an optometrist to do.
I know, I sometimes wonder if I should ever have been an optometrist. I get so carried away with everything else.
Yeah, I can understand. How many days do you actually work as an optometrist?
Well, I'm in the practice 5 days, but I have another optometrist who supports me 2 days of the week. So,
yeah.
I'm in the clinic for 3 days, and then I do quite a wee bit of work outside of the normal 9 to 5 job as well. So I'm quite an attention to detail kind of a person. So yeah. I like to have everything just right. So I do find myself wrapping up hundreds of selection packs sitting in front of the TV at night, like, you know, for Santa Claus. So yeah, there's a lot of things I would do, which I'm sure the team could do, but I quite enjoy being part of it all. So yeah, I get quite involved myself.
Oh, well, thanks, Jean. I mean, it's quite obvious that you've got a real competence for that, but not only that, I think a real passion that comes through, which is obviously why you're so successful at it, and obviously why people engage with you in the community so much. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us and the other Sight Care members.
One of the things to remember as well for anybody who's thinking about maybe engaging with their community, it gives you such a good opportunity for PR as well. You know, and in lots of our events that we've hosted or we've been involved in, or community events we've taken part in, the press is there as well. So we would invite the press to come to our events. We would send press releases out with photographs of the stories afterwards as well. And we've had the mayor in the practice, and we've had the deputy mayor, we've had an MP in the practice. We've been invited to the mayor's parlour for afternoon tea there earlier this year. She wanted to invite us and the children who were the voice actors for our book to come along to her parlour, just to kind of recognise the achievement of the children, to celebrate that with them. So it gives you a really good opportunity for PR, and that also drives business to the practice. There's no doubt about that. It's hard to measure that kind of much business comes from that, but it does definitely raise the profile of the practice. And I think having been involved so much in the community has given me an opportunity as well to win awards. You know, if you're involved in your community, if you're shortlisted for an award, never mind winning an award, even if you're shortlisted for an award, it also raises the profile of your practice. And we've been shortlisted or winners in like local Chamber of Commerce, local newspaper and magazine awards, Women in Business awards, as well as the National Industry Awards with the AOP and the Optician and the Sight Care. So I think all those things together gives you a really good opportunity to raise the profile of your practice. So and being involved in the community supports that, I think. I think it's just about engagement. I think it's about building those relationships with your community and getting outside your comfort zone. As I said maybe earlier, for your team, there's lots of areas of personal development whenever you start engaging with your local community. There's lots of areas of personal development for your team. And sometimes if you're not doing those kinds of events, your team aren't shining. There's opportunities you'll find when you start to, engage with your community. You'll find your team have strengths that you never knew that they had. So I think for practices that are thinking about it, there's no negatives to trying to get engaged with your community. I know it's time consuming, but for us anyway, we've had the time in the past to get the ball rolling with these kinds of events. But I think if you invest a little bit of time, you can reap a lot of rewards.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jean. It's absolutely no wonder you've got a community award and lots of other nominations for awards. And it's really great to hear how you do it. And thank you for sharing your ideas. Well, I hope you have a good day, and it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thanks very much.
Take care.